When the matter of comedy comes before our discussion, comedy simply means a drama in light nature, right? So, a comedy, as we know, that we are very much familiar with this word, comedy. As you know, that comedy is just a funny and happy ending drama, right? It creates a very funny and happy situation throughout the drama. So right from the beginning to the end of a comic drama, we just find funny and happy scenes, right? And we feel relaxed. No sad scene is there in the matter of comedy. Comedy is generally full of energetic, as the total atmosphere is positive, right? And comedy always ends with happiness. Generally, there is the marriage of the protagonist and the heroine. The antagonist is punished. All the problems are successfully solved. Right? Generally, no death is there at the end of a comedy. So everything ends with happiness. So goody goody atmosphere is there at the end of a comedy. But it does not mean that comedy is without conflict. Conflict is there. As Aristotle told that conflict is the soul of a drama, maybe a comedy or maybe a tragedy. So a conflict is there in the case of a comedy, but this conflict is not presented in a very serious way as it is shown in a tragedy, right? So conflict is there, tension is there between the protagonist and the antagonist, between a good character and a bad character, but the handling of the conflict is quite changed in the case of comedy. So, in the case of a tragedy, the conflict is very serious. But in the case of comedy, this conflict is handled in a very light way by the dramatist. Right. So the conflict between the protagonist and antagonist is successfully solved at the end. At the end. Right. So comedy is nothing but a piece of an entertainment. It is full of jokes and it is made for the laughing purpose of an audience. So it's the best example of an entertainment. That's it. The significance of a comedy. Why comedy is very important, useful also. As we know that comedy is full of humor, right, and laughter, right? And we see many kinds of comic serials, comic advertisements, comic films on the screen. So it's a very good what is piece of entertainment that comedy is. We get amusement, but it does not mean that comedy has no seriousness of the theme, right? Comedy is used as a dramatist not only for the entertainment purpose but also as a reformative tool also, right? So a dramatist can present some social problem, right, like corruption, right, in the form of comedy, right? So that becomes some kind of satirizing, right, ridiculing. The dramatist like laughs at that point of view, laughs at that fault shown in the comedy. So some serious issue is presented in the form of comedy, right? In some comedy, comic dramas. So by doing this, the author, the writer exposes foibles and follies, means faults of the individuals and society by using comic elements. So serious things can also be discussed in the comedy plays also, right? So Aristotle considers comedy as very useful genre of literature. For Aristotle, this comedy is an ideal state, ideal atmosphere because it gives a comfortable situation, atmosphere for our mind, and we feel refreshed whenever we witness some kind of comedy. So Aristotle praises the concept of comedy. So as far as the definitions are concerned, comedy is a major form of drama, right? And it can be described as a play in which the principal characters ordinarily begin in a state of opposition to one another or to their world, often both. By the end of the play, their opposition is replaced by harmony. The word harmony is very important. So, the principal characters begins the state of opposition. Here, opposition means the clash, the conflict between the protagonist and the antagonist, the good character and the bad character. So, as I told you earlier, that comedy do have the what to say, the concept of conflict, right? But that concept of conflict, that element of conflict is handled differently. In fact, it is handled in a light way by the dramatist, right? Generally, what happens in the case of in the case of a tragedy, the conflict ends with the death of the protagonist, generally, or the antagonist, right? Or some death of some character in the case of a tragedy. But what happens in the case of a comedy, the ending is happy and the conflict between the protagonist and antagonist is resolved, is solved at the end with harmony. And the antagonist successfully admits his guilt in front of the protagonist, and the protagonist, with his big heart, pardons the antagonist, and there is a reunion, right? So there is a good relationship between the protagonist and antagonist at the end of a comedy. But this is not possible in the case of a tragedy, right? So at the end of a comedy, all the problems are solved. We can see friendship, or let's say good relationship between the protagonist and antagonist. So antagonist does not remain antagonist at the end of a comedy. That's the difference. So by the end of the play, their opposition means their conflict, right? Their struggle is replaced by harmony. So no problem is there between the protagonist and the antagonist, right? Harmony, a good relationship is there, right? So the main purpose of comedy is to amuse. Amuse means entertainment. So the main purpose, main intention of a comedy is entertainment, entertainment, and entertainment, right? So its main elements are humor, comic plot, and flat characters. Right? So comic plot consists in a sequence of difficult, intricate, or improbable situations in which the main characters find themselves in trouble. Yeah, trouble means again the conflict, the struggle, right? So the problems are always overcome, and at the end is always happy. The problems are created by the antagonist, but at the end of the drama, the comedy, the protagonist successfully defeats the antagonist, solves all the problem, and the mind of the antagonist is also changes. Right? So love and variations on this theme are the most frequent subject matter of comedies. Love and variation on this theme are the most frequent subject matter of comedies. Generally, we find love as a very central theme in a comedy. Right? The events of a comic plot follow one another at such a fast pace that the audience has no time to wonder at the improbability of the story. Right? So many turning points happen in the case of the story, right? And this happening is so fast. So as an audience, we don't have much time to react. So situation changes rapidly in the case of a comedy, right? And as it is shown in the form of a comedy, we just pass our time in laughing, laughing, and laughing only, right? So we don't have any time to wonder, right? To think about the improbability, the impossibilities, let's say. The antagonist becomes a good man at the end, right? All of a sudden. So we as an audience find it quite difficult to trust the antagonist at the end of the story, isn't it? So this is improbability. So as an audience, we have the feeling that antagonist remains the bad character forever. But what happens in the case of a comedy, the bad character at the end changes its attitude urgently, right? So we find it quite difficult to trust the antagonist, and this is the specialty of the comedy, we can say. So they accept it as the convention of the comedy and enjoy the play. So we just blindly accept whatever surprising thing happens, and all the surprising thing happens so rapidly, so speedily in the story. As an audience, we just rely, just trust blindly over that, right? So humor is the main soul of the comedy. It can take many forms on the stage, from the subtlety amusing to the hilarious. So light comedy is there, hilarious comedy is there. So the level of, or let's say the intensity of laughter depends upon the dialogues, depends upon the main theme of the scene, right? So some scenes may be light in comedy and some scenes may be full of laughter, right? So this is what makes people laugh. It is often based on the privileged position of the audience when they know more about than the characters on the stage. So let's move towards the next type of drama, that is a tragedy. As we know that tragedy means something sad, something bad, right? The tragedy is a word comes from trag, that is goat song, which comes from tragos, that is goat, and finally it means to sing. In poetics, Aristotle comments that a tragedy is a imitation of an action that is serious and also as having magnitude, complete in itself, inappropriate, and pleasure language. In a dramatic rather than a narrative form, with incidents arousing pity and fear. See, the words pity and fear, these two words are very important. Wherewith to accomplish a catharsis of these emotions. The word catharsis is also very important. So later on, we would just try to understand the definition given by Aristotle of tragedy. So drama in which the protagonist is overcome by some superior force or some circumstance excites terror or pity. So terror, pity, catharsis, all these words are very important in the case of a tragedy. So tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude. As you know that comedy is full of comedy, humor, laughter, happiness. But on the other hand, tragedy is totally opposite of comedy. We are familiar with the word tragedy, right? So tragedy is full of seriousness, right? And in the language, embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play, in the form of action, not of narrative. So the main focus of a story in the tragedy is action and not narration. So something serious is happening on the stage, it is presented in the form of action. For suppose some murder is there, right? So murder is shown directly. So the narration, or let's say the description of the murder is not given on the stage. Some war is there, some war is there, some physical fighting is there between the hero and the villain. So direct fighting is shown on the stage instead of narration. That's it. That's the difference between a novel and a drama. So through this action, direct action, which appeals the most, it creates pity and fear. These two things are very important. Pity and fear. These two feelings are the basic feelings of a tragedy. Laughter, happiness, right? These are the basic things, basic feelings in the case of a comedy. But as far as tragedy is concerned, we find pity and fear, right? We also find purgation, right? That is called catharsis of these similar emotions. What is purgation? What is catharsis? How pity and fear is created in our mind? That list we will discuss later on. So, a tragedy is a literary work depicting serious events, seriousness, serious atmosphere is there right from the beginning to the end of the drama. The main character, that is the protagonist, is often high ranking and dignified. As far as Shakespearean tragedy is concerned, the main hero, the protagonist of a Shakespearean tragedy, is always from some royal family. Some king is there, some queen is there, some prince is there, some princess is there, some knight is there, right? So all such kind of high ranking people are there in the case of Shakespearean tragedy. We don't find common people as protagonists in the case of Shakespearean drama. And as the title itself indicates, tragedy always ends with some unhappy incident. Some tragedy happens, some sad incident happens at the end of a tragedy. So, like comedy, comedy is full of happiness, right? Fun is there. But in the case of tragedy, it is full of seriousness, right? So tense atmosphere is there. Most of the characters are in mental tension. So it deals with problems, problems and problems. These problems are, as we know, created by the antagonist, right? And the protagonist tries to solve the problem in the whole story. In the whole story. So a tragedy creates a strong mood of unhappy and sad feeling among the audience. So we, as the audience, don't have a single chance to smile. Not even a small smile is there in the story. Right? So right from the beginning to the end, we just look at the unhappy scenes happening one by one, right, on the stage. So it happens, it ends with some sad incident, and the sad incident at the end is full of shock to the audience. The best example is Hamlet and Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Hamlet and Macbeth, these two world famous tragedies, are full of serious atmosphere, right? It is full of conflict, right? It has sad ending. So Hamlet dies at the end, Macbeth also dies at the end, right? So it is full of tragic atmosphere. So like comedy, tragedy has its own significance, its own importance. Aristotle was the first to fully define it in his work Poetics. He wrote that tragedy must involve the reversal of fortunes of powerful person. Here, powerful person means royal family people. The Shakespearean dramas have the protagonist from the royal families like prince, princess, king, queens, and knights. right? So we don't find common people as protagonists in Shakespearean drama. And Aristotle feels that Aristotle recommends that a tragedy must have the high rank personalities as the characters, right? And they must have reversal of fortunes. Reversal, right? Reversal means changing from a person's behavior from good to bad or bad to good, right? Due to hamartia of the protagonist. Hamartia. The hamartia, this concept is very important in the case of a tragedy. Here, hamartia means tragic flaw, means some personal fault of that character. So a hero, let's say the protagonist in such kind of a tragedy, especially Shakespearean tragedy, has some hamartia, has some personal or let's say individual fault. What is the hamartia of Hamlet? Overthinking is the hamartia of Hamlet. Overthinking is the real problem of Hamlet. What is the hamartia of Macbeth? So over ambition is the hamartia of Macbeth. Here, hamartia means personal problem, personal shortcoming, personal fault. So Aristotle recommends that tragedy should tragedy should take place because of the hamartia of that character, because of the personal fault of that character. Why is there a tragedy of Hamlet? Because in the drama Hamlet, the dramatist presents Hamlet in the state of thinking, thinking, and thinking only. Hamlet takes no action in the story, or let's say delayed action in the story, right? So this overthinking, this passing of time is the hamartia of Hamlet. If Hamlet had not this kind of hamartia, then it would have been no tragedy of the character, that is Hamlet. That's it. So the tragedy of Hamlet happens because of the hamartia, that is overthinking. Macbeth, for example, has the hamartia of overambition, right? So Macbeth tries to achieve the throne of the state, that is satta, that is power, by murdering King Duncan. So he adopts a wrong path to complete his own ambition. That is his hamartia, right? So the tragedy of Hamlet and the tragedy of Macbeth happens not because of others. Their tragedy happens because of their own personal problem, right? So this their tragedy, their sad story creates a sense of fear and pity in our mind, right? And this leads to the other concept, that is catharsis. What is catharsis then? As you know that hamartia is the personal fault of that character, right? And the tragedy of that character happens because of the hamartia, right? And when the tragedy of some character happens on the stage, we as the audience witness that tragedy, right? Witness that downfall, right? So when we see such kind of tragedy, we we just have two feelings in our mind, that is fear and pity. And according to psychology, all the feelings should be utilized, should be promoted in our life. So tragedy creates, or let's say appeals the sense of fear and pity in our mind. Whenever there is some problem faced by the hero, we feel fear and pity. What will happen? What will happen next? We feel fear, right? when there is a war on the stage, right, between Macbeth and the sons of King Duncan, we feel fear, right? What will happen next? What will happen next? This is the fear, right? See, in the case of King Lear, we must have seen the film Nata Samrat. What happens at the end of the Nata Samrat? When Nata Samrat is thrown out of the house, we feel fear. What will happen next? Right? And we also fear pity. We also have the feeling of sympathy. We have the sympathy for Hamlet. We have the sympathy for Macbeth. We have the sympathy for Appa Belvalkar in Nata Samrat. Right? So the fear and pity, these two feelings are very important as far as a normal behavior of person is there. And according to Aristotle, tragedy helps us to maintain the psychological or let's say the emotional balance of our mind. Comedy creates happiness, some goody goody atmosphere, right? Which is also essential for our mind, for our mental health. But on the other hand, we should not ignore the feelings of pity and fear also. These two things are also important for our balanced personality. And tragedy successfully creates the feeling of fear and personality. This is called catharsis. So, uh, the concept of catharsis changes in the modern tragedies, tragedy of the today. So there is a big difference between the Shakespearean tragedy and tragedy of today, right? For example, Arthur Miller, the tragedian, right, changes the concept of tragedy, right? As I told you that Shakespearean drama only allows the people from royal family, but the play presented by Arthur Miller, that is The Death of a Salesman, the title of that drama, he uses a common person as the hero, right? So Arthur Miller started a new concept of tragedy in the modern time, and that is the hero, or the protagonist, or the most of the important characters, they are common people. That is the turning point in the case of English literature, as far as tragic drama is concerned. Right. So the drama exposes the plight. Here, plight means bad situation and suffering of humans to its audience. So tragedy of Hamlet, tragedy of Macbeth, tragedy of Romeo and Juliet, they are presented on the stage through tragedy. The theme of a tragedy usually rotates around, moves around the ruination of dynasty. See the ruination, ruination. In Marathi, it is called Satyanas. Right, ruination. The high rank person falls from high rank to the low rank. Right? King Lear, he was a king, but because of his own catharsis, his own personal problem. What was his own personal problem? That is blind belief, blind trust, आंधळा विश्वास, कोणावरही विश्वास आंधळा ठेवू नये. That's the catharsis shown in the personality of King Lear. Same thing is there in the case of Appa Belvalkar in Nata Samrat. Right? So it's a ruination. King Lear, who was a king in the beginning, becomes beggar at the end. This is called ruination. Appa Belvalkar, who was a very famous nut, who was a very famous actor, becomes beggar at the end. He becomes homeless at the end. This is called ruination. Means a downfall. It's a downfall. Right? So downfall of a man, emotional betrayals, phaswa phaswi. Right? Cheating is there. Someone cheats this one, and cheating drama is there. Macbeth, he cheats King Duncan. Hamlet is cheated by his own uncle, right? Hamlet's own mother marries Hamlet's uncle, right? Who is the real murderer of Hamlet's father, right? So Hamlet is cheated by his own mother also, right? So her cheating drama is there in the case of a tragedy. So emotional betrayals, moral setback. We don't find any kind of morality in tragedy. All the characters behave in a selfish way, right? All the characters, they they are without any kind of honesty. They are without any kind of what to say truthfulness. They want to achieve something by hook or by crook, by cheating, by murdering, by kidnapping, right? Like that. So it is a moral setback. So personal loss is there. Many characters lose their lives. Many characters lose their mental peace. Right? They suffer, suffer, and suffer. And final suffering is what? Death. So generally, a hero dies at the end of a tragedy, as we know. So a tragedy, when composed and enacted on the stage, it touches our sentiments, it touches our emotions deeply, and especially the emotions of pity and fear. We feel pity, we feel sympathy for Hamlet, we feel sympathy for King Lear, we feel sympathy for Appa Belvarti in Natasamrat, we feel sympathy for Romeo and Juliet's sad death, isn't it? So tragedy is major form of drama, right? It can be defined in a play in which the hero and his world begin in a condition of harmony, right? Which integrates, leaving him by the end of the play in a state of isolation. So the hero is a lonely figure in the whole story. What happens in the case of a comedy? Comedy starts with a problem and ends with a solution. But tragedy starts with a problem and ends with also a problem, right? So the hero, the main character, the protagonist, always remains in mental tension, always remains in isolation, right? He just thinks. What to do, what not to do. To be or not to be, that is the question. That is the famous soliloquy in Hamlet, right? So tragic plots, tragic heroes, and heroines have specific features of their own, right? Which in which they are typical of Shakespearean plays, but can be extended to cover tragedies by other playwrights as well. See the words tragic plots, tragic heroes, and heroines. We will elaborate these concepts in our coming lectures. So tragic plots, the stories full of tragedy, full of sad atmosphere, right? Full of frustration, full of mental tension. That is tragic plot. Tragic heroes, the hero in a tragedy. That means a tragic hero. He's called as tragic because he gets nothing in the whole drama. Only personal loss is there, mental loss, physical loss, relationship loss. And then at the end of the tragedy, the hero has to give up his life, right? So it's nothing but the sad story of a protagonist that is called tragedy. Right? So elements of tragedy is there. There is tragic hero, tragic flaw, hamartia, right? Catastrophe, catharsis. In our coming lecture, we would discuss these issues also. What is a tragic hero? What is a tragic flaw or hamartia? What is catastrophe and what is catharsis? As well as a tragic hero is nothing but the protagonist in such kind of a tragedy. But again, a tragic hero has to occupy some kind of qualifications. Then and then only he will be labeled as a tragic hero, right? So in our coming lectures, we would elaborate these concepts also. Till then, let's stop over here. Thank you very much.